Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. Well, this time, it's not going to be comics that we're looking at. Now, I have done a whole series looking at some of the Pulp magazines, the old Pulp magazines that I've got, until I showed them all. But that's really not all. I've also got some newer Pulps. Okay, over the past 2 decades or so, there have been several publishers. Well, since a lot of the Pulp material was never or seldom republished, and has since gone into public domain. So there have been several publishers who have reprinted a lot of the old Pulp magazines, either complete facsimile editions of the complete issue of the magazine, or as we'll see in some in here, just reprinting the material of a specific character, one or more characters, under a new title, with the but with the contents being like usually a facsimile. So I have, if you followed me at all for any length of time, you know I am a big Tarzan fan, and I love those old jungle stories, and I like the old jungle movies, especially the ones with the guys, men in the ape suits, supposed to be gorillas or whatever, apes. I just love those. In my Pulps, when I showed Pulps, I had some jungle stories in it. Well, here I have a few of these. I'm going to start off looking here at the Adventures of Ka-zar the Great. Now, as I recall, this was okay. This issue is from 2007, I think it is. The reissue, and it is a complete facsimile of an issue of Ka-zar. Now, if I remember correctly, Ka-zar only published 3 issues of the Ka-zar Pulp magazine, and then Ka-zar was put into the comics at Timely, which made him. And then they brought him back again in the 60s for the more modern age of comics, and he is still a part of the Marvel universe today, except of course now instead of being in the African jungle hero in African jungles, with they've put him in the hidden jungle, Lord of the Hidden Jungle in Antarctica, and instead of his lion companion, he's got now has Zabu, the saber-toothed tiger. Well, here, this is so I'm not sure which issue this is. I couldn't find it where it's said anywhere. But this is The Lost Empire, a complete thrilling novel by Bob Bird. Also smashing short stories. So I'll take a little look here, and here's the new material on this cover. I mean, on this interior page, and this is done by Adventure House, and I think they're still producing, or at least their issues, stuff that they produced is still available. And here it has the title page, had ads, and then the interior illustration. And Bjorklund, I think, is the name of the artist, if I can read that correctly. Here's The Lost Empire, Thrilling Adventures of Ka-zar the Great by Bob Bird. The incomparable white youth Ka-zar the Great stalks his fierce enemies in a hidden empire of intrigue. And it has a complete Ka-zar novel. It would have been a relatively short novel, but still. And then following that up had some shorter stories of various other kinds of adventures, I presume jungle-related stories, and then had still reproduced the ads in the back. So it looked almost exactly like the original magazine. And unfortunately, that's this nice cover painting illustration. And unfortunately, I didn't find anything on the artist who did it, and I don't see a name here. But that's Ka-zar. Okay, then we had Jungle Stories. There was Jungle Stories as a original magazine. This is also a facsimile magazine. And this is from Fiction House Magazines originally, and nice cover illustration. A good girl and bondage. Those are always big draws. It's a nice cover painting. But in Jungle Stories, in that magazine, they had a lead character who was, of course, there were a lot of Tarzan imitators in the pulps and in the comics after that. But Ki-Gor is now almost completely forgotten, but was at the time one of his biggest rivals. And he ran for many years in the pages of Jungle Stories. This happens to be reprinting Volume 1, Number 6. So this is issue number 6. This is early in his career. Ki-Gor and the Cannibal Kingdom, a new novel of the White Lord of Hidden Africa by John Peter Drummond, and Cobra Death by Major E.L. Dyer, and Queen of the Congo Spearmen by Armand Brigade, or however you pronounce his name. And as I said, that's also facsimile, and this was originally from 1940. Oh, I forgot to mention that the Ka-zar was from 1937, originally from 1937, I think. Is the title page, and the interior illustrations. I always like to look at the old pulp illustrations, and it didn't have so many for other illustrations for that story, but each of the other stories also had illustrations. Cobra Death had Queen of the Congo Spearmen, and that says Donald Lynch is the name of that artist. It's a little cleaner, nice. It's nice line work. And that one, and most of these I have never had the chance to read, and well, there's others in there, but so that one is Jungle Stories. Then here is they published several issues of I don't know how many. This is number 86, so they must have printed a lot under the title of High Adventure, and these were just Ki-Gor stories, and each issue would have 2 Ki-Gor stories. This has 2 great Ki-Gor novels, The Devil's Death Trap and Blood Priestess of Vignga. Cool stuff. Some cool stuff to see some of that. And you can see here the interiors were also looks just like the old pulps. So I think it was facsimile of the stories, but not of the. I like this double page spread here. The Devil's Death Trap by John Peter Drummond. And they had a lot of others. No, I guess not so much in this one, but this story had a back, and the end of it had a short jungle comic story. It was Wild Boy in the White Robe of Courage. And where's the other one here? Because this one had 2 stories in it. See if I can find. Well, I don't see it. I don't see it there, but it doesn't matter. I was lucky to get this. It's only got it for $4, but it's second hand. But I only at this time they were as a whole at the bookstore. They had a whole bunch of these pulp reprints, and they were relatively expensive. And at the time, I had to be very choosy. So I was lucky to get. I got some of these, and I got some others. Now more. Here we have another high adventure featuring Ki-Gor. Death seeks for Congo treasure. And just the same as before. Another nice double-page spread, and obviously Ki-Gor is not alone because he has a jungle woman with him in these stories. And this would happen to be issue number 92. But this had a lot of small spot illustrations, smaller spots. Oh, good fun reading. I'm gonna have to get, now that I got these out, I'm gonna have to get a chance to try to get a chance to read some nice stuff. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if I saw some of these artists doing some of the jungle comics and other comics in later years. And then here is this one has 103, issue 103. Again, good girl bondage cover. A little bit on the sexy side. You can see where it's stitched together and everything. Zomba has 1,000 spears and the golden claws of Ra. Oh, and if I had a chance, I'd like to get some more of these sometime. High adventure. Come on, there we go. Gromba has 1,000 spears by John Peter Drummond, and that was probably a house name. Again, rhinos. A lot of little spot illustrations up in the corner, so that you can, as you flip through it, you can see some of the stuff going on. And here you can see PulpCon. This is 2009. This is yeah, but this issue is from 2008, I think. And these were Adventure House. I guess they were publishing, and I guess they probably still are, or still have their stuff available. More wax in the head. Good jungle goodness, jungle adventure goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah, here we go. The Golden Claws of Ra by John Peter Drummond. But that's not all. Here is we have from Wildcat Books, Savage Tales of Ki-Gor, Lord of the Jungle by Barry Reese, and it's a Pulse Pounders Digest. Now this is not a reprint of the classic pulps. That's why I threw this one in, because this is all new material, new stories featuring the Ivory Goddess and the Devil's Domain, and with several interior illustrations. And the interior artist is Ron Wilbur, who has done a lot of various comic book things, underground and fanzines and stuff like that. Somewhere in there he's got some dinos. And just very good pulpy goodness, the Devil's Domain. That's all good pulpy goodness. And I love pulpy stories. They're great adventures. It's all great adventure for the adventure lovers. And I really would have loved it had this stuff been available to me when I was a kid. I would have loved it all then. So that's all I've got for you this time. for Bizarre Brain Comics. Let me know what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe. And do let me know what you think of these latter-day Pulp stories, or Pulp reissuing. So some of these things are, I mean, a lot of the stuff that was just unable to be found almost anywhere is now has greater availability, and is a lot of good fun reading. So like, share, subscribe, and do leave your comments. And remember, comics are art.